So as promised, there's a video about parts reconciliation and how we do parts reconciliation is probably it's probably going to make a lot of people have an aneurysm. So we're going to talk about parts reconciliation. Now, the cool thing about it is on the store level, if you're watching this and you work inside the stores, you don't have to do much of this other than just make sure the data is being entered properly and let us handle the back end of this. So I'm going to be very transparent here. This is how we do reconciliation. We use Techmetric heavily. So all the parts you ordered, you must put them in Techmetric. You have to use Techmetric to quote, and essentially everything you buy is either going to go in one of two categories. Either it's going to go inside within RO, or either it's going to go on the shop supplies. Got a little blank there. Shop supplies. So anything that you put on a car is RO. Fluids, RO. Bulk stuff, and the C, which is something you don't see, which is our bulk stuff. Now, other than oil, pretty much everything else we either put in, this is where your filters will go, this is where all your food invoices will go, this is where all your hose clamps will go. Just knock yourself out. And you get literally everything that doesn't go, you're like, well, Zane, filters go in a car. I understand that, but you ordered 200 filters from Mighty. How are you going to split that up? So just put that with shop supplies, and then you put it on a weekly basis. And every week on Saturday, we post our shop supplies to Techmetric. Every week you have a new shop supply RO, and that way we're able to keep accurate count. And that way we know our parts cost is accurate every single week because we do that every single week. Everything else goes with the car. Brake, suspension, the whole world goes with the RO. Second step, you all know we do parts cost sheets. So a parts cost sheet, if you are unfamiliar with it, at the end of every week on Saturday, me and my corporate team, we sit down and we go through every single car that went through your store, every single one. And what we do is we go through every RO scan for every day, the daily scan. So we'll have 6 days of scans, and each one will have, let's say, 10 to 25 ROs. And each one of those ROs will have parts. So far, so good. So let's say on each car, you have an average 2 invoices of parts. So that gives you an average of anywhere from 20 to 50 invoices of parts we're going through. And what we do with these parts invoices is we literally just add them up, and we use a sheet that we confirm that everything that is scanned is now going to be accounted for and added up, and this is all totaled up, and that's how you get your total parts. So that's what we do, and this is how we do a weekly parts cost / profit / payroll. And you're like, that's how we can pay you weekly on all your commission, because we understand that we know what our parts cost is, right? Because we know each week what our sales are. They're in Techmetric. We know what our parts cost is because I just told you how we do it. Because we know our parts cost and sales, what we know is our staff cost is. And naturally, we know what our overhead, aka fixed expenses, are. Guess what? We can know what our profit is, and we can correct very quickly as a result of that, instead of, as most companies do, wait till the 15th of the following month. Now, do we have a margin of error here? Of course. But 15 years of doing this, we've been within 2% in our P&L at the end of the month. And as I always say, I'd rather be approximately right than exactly wrong. I want to make decisions quickly. And that's Warren Buffett. Make decisions quickly will beat the hell out of anyone who is extremely accurate, but they're super slow. And we're pretty accurate, but we're very fast. And that gets us way further than a lot of guys in this business. So let's talk about how we actually reconcile statements now, because this is a video about reconciliation. So the part statement comes in, and say you have a statement that comes in and it's $4,000. And say the statement's for 1 month, that we do 30 days with most of our vendors. Some of them do a week because we smoke their budget, which is a whole different conversation for another day. Anyway, $4,000 comes in, and you have, let's say you have 105 charges, aka invoices of parts. And you're like, holy crap, that's a lot of invoices. Sure is. But the cool thing is, all the invoices should have RO numbers, every single one of them. Even if it's a warranty, you gotta put a RO number with a warranty. Hey, I got these brakes from you, and you have to do it with a current RO number. You don't have to worry about the old one. I just need to see, what did you buy this for, not what you're warrantying, if that makes sense. I need to know the current RO number. And what we do is, when we get those charges, we're actually going literally line by line on every single of those charges on the statement. And you might be like, this is crazy, it's a lot of work. Yes, finding money is a lot of work. That's why you should put some respect on the corporate team's name. Anyway, that said, every one of those 105 charges, the first place we look is Techmetric. And if Techmetric checks out, the second place we look is the parts cost sheet. And if that checks out, we're good to go. You might be like, why are you doing double the work? If it's in Techmetric, why are you checking here? I'm glad you asked. In Techmetric, we know that the part was used correctly for what we said. So this protects us against two things, theft and theft, really. The theft is one from the vendor, and the second from what? The team, right? This allows us to see we in fact use this on a customer's vehicle. Here, we want to make sure that it was accounted for in our profit and loss, meaning did the team get credited or did they get penalized? Credit or penalized for this purchase. So this right here is more of, did we pay for it properly? And this is more so protection. Now you, as on the store level, you have to do two things. One, you have to check it into Techmetric so we can see that. So that's one. And the second, you have to make sure you scan it all, because the scans go into parts cost sheets and the check-in goes into Techmetric. Well, if you do these two things, you're going to make the corporate team's life very easy. So when they go through Techmetric, they're able to say, boom, everything is in there. Actually, the cool thing is there's actually a report that you can pull up for every vendor, and it shows you everything you bought for that vendor. It's literally under the parts section of Techmetric. And that flies through there. And then naturally, when we go line by line into the parts cost sheet, and we're like, boom, everything is in there, we're good to go. The team is accounted for, Techmetric's accounted for, we're good to go. Go ahead and pay those guys $4,000. There's no funky business. If something is missing here, we call the vendor saying, hey, we didn't use that. Yes, you did. Then we talk about, all right, well, what the hell's going on? The part go missing. Which car was it for? Did somebody steal it? Is the vendor messing around with us? If it's not accounted for, 99% of the time it's because you didn't scan it. So again, if you watch the previous video on how we do things with the check-in, and then you combine it with what I said earlier in this video, talking about building that parts cost sheet in the scan, everything gets scanned, everything gets put into Techmetric, and then we audit the statement when it comes in. That's essentially what it is. And then remember, on Saturday, we go through every single RO. This allows us to audit all the tickets that come in and also making sure that everything was in fact scanned. Believe it or not, some things still go unscanned. But a lot of it is caught on a weekly basis. That's allowing us to make our business very fast and make decisions so we can audit. This is how you make net profit and make your team a lot of money and not go in the wrong direction. I hope this video helps. Again, this is how we reconcile statements and how we do parts cost sheet. Thank you very much.